There comes a moment in every life when everything can change, not because of luck, not because of talent, not because of motivation, but because of a single decision. A quiet decision. A personal decision. A decision no one applauds, no one notices, and no one celebrates. Yet that one decision redraws the direction of your future. Most people wait for motivation. They wait to feel inspired, energized, confident, and ready. But motivation is emotional, and emotions are unstable. Some mornings you wake up driven, other mornings you wake up tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline asks one question only: what must be done? One decision, to act even when it's uncomfortable, separates dreamers from builders. Discipline is not loud. It doesn't hype you up. It doesn't promise instant results. Discipline shows up when excitement fades. It shows up when results are slow. It shows up when quitting feels easier than continuing. That's why it works. Every powerful life is built on ordinary days handled with discipline. Waking up on time. Doing the work without applause. Repeating the boring basics. These small, disciplined choices may feel insignificant today, but they compound into confidence, strength, and self-respect tomorrow. Motivation starts things. Discipline finishes them. People often think discipline is restriction, but it is actually freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from depending on mood and circumstances. When you choose discipline, you choose control over your direction instead of letting life decide for you. The truth is simple and uncomfortable: your future is not waiting for motivation. Your future is waiting for a decision. A decision to commit. A decision to stay consistent. A decision to do what needs to be done even when no one is watching. One decision today can change how you live tomorrow. Not because it feels good, but because it is right. And that decision, repeated daily, becomes the turning point that transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. One decision has the power to interrupt years of bad habits because habits survive on repetition, not on intention. People don't stay stuck because they want to stay stuck, they stay stuck because patterns become familiar and familiarity feels safe. The same routines, the same excuses, the same choices repeated quietly over time build a life that feels permanent, even when it isn't fulfilling. A single, conscious decision interrupts that cycle by introducing awareness where autopilot once ruled. The moment someone decides, with clarity, that the old pattern ends here, they create a break in the loop. That break may feel small in the moment, but it changes the direction of momentum. When momentum shifts, the future begins to reshape itself. A person who interrupts a habit once proves to themselves that interruption is possible. That proof becomes power. Power grows into confidence. Confidence grows into consistency. And consistency begins to rewrite the identity of the person making the choice. The habit does not vanish instantly, but its authority weakens. Each interruption weakens it further. Over time, what once controlled behavior becomes something that can be managed. The decision does not fix everything in a day, but it opens a door that was never opened before. That opening allows new behaviors to enter, new standards to form, and new expectations to take root. This is how change begins, not with perfection, but with interruption. Motivation is temporary because it depends on emotion, and emotion rises and falls without warning. There are days when energy is high and commitment feels effortless, and there are days when even simple actions feel heavy. If progress is built only on emotional drive, then progress becomes fragile. Discipline, however, does not negotiate with mood. It functions through agreement with values. It moves forward when excitement is gone and continues when results are slow. Discipline is built through practice, not feeling. Each time a person acts in alignment with what they know is right, even without desire, they strengthen a muscle that does not weaken under pressure. Over time, this muscle creates reliability within the self. Reliability builds trust, and trust builds momentum. Momentum creates stability. Stability creates growth. This process turns effort into habit and habit into identity. The person no longer waits to feel ready. They move because movement has become part of who they are. When discipline becomes identity, progress no longer depends on whether inside the mind. It becomes rooted in choice, repeated with intention, carried forward by commitment. Waiting to feel ready keeps life on pause because readiness is not a destination the mind eventually reaches, it is a story the mind tells to protect comfort. The idea of being ready feels responsible and thoughtful, yet it often disguises fear of uncertainty, fear of discomfort, fear of being seen trying and possibly failing. Growth requires stepping into unfamiliar space, and unfamiliar space triggers resistance. The longer someone waits for a perfect emotional state, the more time passes without movement. Readiness becomes a moving target that shifts every time courage approaches. Skills develop through action, clarity comes through engagement, and confidence forms through experience. None of these arrive before the first step. The first step creates the conditions for readiness to grow. When a person chooses to begin without certainty, they exchange delay for discovery. They learn by doing, they adjust by observing, and they improve by continuing. Each attempt removes a layer of hesitation. The mind stops asking for permission and starts adapting to progress. Momentum replaces doubt, and the sense of readiness emerges from motion rather than preceding it. The life that waits remains suspended in potential, while the life that moves gains texture, direction, and depth. Progress favors those who step forward while still unsure, because uncertainty is not a signal to stop, it is a signal that growth is nearby. Discipline works even when emotions don't because emotions fluctuate with sleep, stress, distraction, and circumstance. Feelings are informative, but they are not reliable guides for consistent action. When actions are chosen only when enthusiasm is present, the pattern of effort becomes scattered. Discipline creates structure where feelings create waves. It offers a simple agreement with oneself to act in alignment with long-term intention regardless of temporary internal weather. This agreement removes negotiation from the moment of action. The decision is made in advance, and the body follows through even when the mind resists. Over time, this consistency reshapes inner dialogue. The voice that once asked whether to act begins to expect action as normal behavior. This expectation reduces friction. Reduced friction increases follow-through. Follow-through builds evidence of capability. Evidence of capability builds trust in oneself. That trust changes how challenges are perceived. Difficulty becomes a signal of importance rather than a reason to retreat. Discipline does not silence emotion, it carries action forward despite emotion. In doing so, it trains resilience.